to Movie Reviews by Rich Vernadeau, and this time I am reviewing the Arthur Penn 1967 Bonnie and Clyde, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. Of course, it's considered a groundbreaking landmark film. It was one of the first films of what they refer to as the New Hollywood era. It broke many cinematic taboos at the time. One of the things which made it so popular with the younger audience was explicit violence, and the fact that it depicted gunshot wounds in a more graphic way than movies previously had. Of course, its success prompted many other filmmakers to continue this trend in presenting more graphic violence and sex in their films. The film's ending is iconic, of course, and is probably one of the bloodiest death scenes in cinematic history. In fact, it's been called that. It did receive Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actress, Estelle Parsons, Best Cinematography, Burnett Guffey. It's one of the first films, in the first 100 at least, selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. Now, it had an interesting history. Prior to the final incarnation that we're all familiar with, the now classic, iconic film, the script went through a few hands. It was influenced by French New Wave writers, David Newman, Robert Benton. It went on over to Arthur Penn, who was involved in a movie called The Chase at the time. It was sent to Francois Truffaut, the famous French New Wave director, who at that time went on to make Fahrenheit 451. But Truffaut got Jean-Luc Godard interested, and Godard didn't really trust Hollywood, and that ended up not working out, even though Warren Beatty at one point talked to him, had a meeting with him, as a matter of fact. So after it was offered to Sidney Pollack, who turned it down, among other directors, Arthur Penn finally took the director's position, and of course the rest is history. Now, among the actresses who were considered for the role of Bonnie Parker, of course we know that Faye Dunaway ultimately ended up with it, but Shirley MacLaine was, which of course is Beatty's sister. Shirley MacLaine was considered. Jane Fonda was considered. Tuesday Well, Leslie Caron, and Margaret, Carol Lindley, and even Natalie Wood was suggested to play the role, but Wood declined. She was at the time involved in other pursuits. So Faye Dunaway won by the skin of her teeth, as she says in her own words. It is an iconic film. It is a lasting film. I saw it as a child. My parents took me to the drive-in theater to see it, and of course my dad had been born and was of an age where he remembered Bonnie and Clyde from his childhood, and even the way they were ambushed over there. And shortly after that, he brought me a reproduction of the original newspaper that came out at the time that showed their bullet-ridden corpses, lurid black and white photographs of their bodies, and of course of the car, which had hundreds of bullet holes in it. And of course that ending, which is also one of the most iconic death scenes in American movie history, is unforgettable. So this has been my review of the iconic movie Bonnie and Clyde, directed by Arthur Penn, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. Thank you very much.
Oh man, depression got me down. I'm the brokest man in town. I've gone from riches